Hello everyone, welcome to Yours Cosmetics. Welcome. Welcome everyone. We'll just give it a few minutes to allow the people to join. Hi Natasha. Welcome everyone. Thank you very much for giving away half an hour of your Sunday evening and join us for the presentation of our brand new collection of stamping plates, stamping polishes, and some gorgeous elements that we are adding to our incredible collection of stamping goodness. Welcome Yvette, hi everyone, so nice to see everyone. Thank you very much for joining us this fine evening. Hopefully the weather is very nice where you are, and I hope you have a cup of something interesting to drink, whether it's cup of tea or a glass of wine or whatever it is that tickles your fancy on a Sunday evening. Nice to see everyone. Today we are going to present to you our newest collection called Fantastic Fall. And if I had any children and I could pick one, this collection will probably be my most favorite. Not only the most favorite as an entire collection, but also my most favorite collection to create as a designer for yours. Hi Fee! Hi everyone, hi Mete! Nice to see some familiar faces. So today we are going to talk about our newest collection, and I will give you a couple of tips and tricks on how you can utilize this collection depending on your skill level as well. Now, how many of us see beautiful nail art designs specifically for autumn that are coming from very talented nail professionals? And there are a lot of them. And there are a lot of other average nail professionals that want to create simple, beautiful, fast, and a design that a client is willing to sit through you creating it. Well, this collection will definitely give you everything you need to create autumnal nail designs. As you all know, I'm a C&D education ambassador, so my heart is very close to C&D color collections. And this, their latest collection that is called Autumn Addict, just so incredibly flows together with the new Fantastic Fall. And of course, if you're using any other brand of gel polishes, this will also work for you beautifully. So without further ado, let's turn the camera on the other side, and I will show you what it is that we are going to look at. So here we are. I've got a lovely wee setup here for you with my little pumpkins and some leaves. So in the new collection, first of all, of course, let's discuss the newest stamping plates. So you guys are in for a treat. You will be able to get your hands on free double-sided stamping plates. We have foliage stamping plate that will probably definitely everybody will love, because I have very seriously and carefully thought about what to include in this stamping plate, and pretty much anything to do with autumn, you've got yourself covered with this guy. So let's take a look. On the front, you have a selection of leaves that you can utilize. This particular stamping plate stamps beautifully with all of the colors. Pigmented, it also works very well with traditional polishes, because Yours Cosmetics is the leader on the stamping market when it comes to the depth of the cut. And on the opposite side, we have this beautiful selection of leaves that you can utilize in all sorts of your designs when it comes to creating abstract designs on your nails. So this stamping plate is called foliage. And you get 2 plates basically when you purchase one. The second Yours Loves Natalia plate is called Graphic Autumn Stamping Plate. And this plate gives you the opportunity to create almost jewelry pieces for your clients. On the front side of the stamping plate, you can see the selection of different insects, a couple of mushrooms, socks and brollies, some apples, acorns, and pumpkins. And as you can see, we have on this plate, I have truly thought about all nail professionals, the ones that work with longer nails and the ones that work with shorter nails. So on shorter nails, you will obviously be able to utilize a smaller image, and on longer, larger nails, you will be able to utilize the bigger ones. And there are some tricks and that you can use this particular collection with. I will show you in just a few. And on the reverse side of the plate, you have a selection of patterns that pretty much any client will be very thankful for. For me personally, these 2 are probably the ones that I was selfishly creating for myself, as I do have a coat with this pattern. And I want you also to pay attention to this guy here. This image will help you to recreate a texture of Saffiano leather. So if you're looking to create a nail that matches a client's handbag, you can use this image to create that. And for those of you who are quirky, we now have a lovely QR code that you can stamp on your clients. So this, my friends, is Graphic Autumn Stamping Plate. Also, you get fabulous choices for your clients with just 1 plate. And of course, our fabulous Dee, the president of Stampin' Universe, has created a fantastic Halloween night collection for you. As we all know that everybody is always looking for more options when it comes to Halloween, and even if you are not very artistic, you are now will be able to create all sorts of tricks and treats for your clients this Halloween. And again, as you can see, the stamping plates are very deeply cut, so they will give you a fabulous image. Absolutely fabulous image. Beautiful. We can't wait to see you guys to create fabulous Halloween designs. And since it is a little too early for Halloween, today we will concentrate on creating autumnal nail designs. And closer to Halloween, you'll probably see a lot of inspiration coming from us and other nail professionals. As a matter of fact, make sure that you follow Yours Cosmetics on Instagram, Facebook, and also YouTube channel, because we very regularly post little tutorials on YouTube with very good descriptions of steps. So it will get you started with some of these new guys. Additionally, we also have this is like Christmas in September for many of us. Look at these colors. These colors are definitely something that we were all missing in the collection, especially when it comes to autumn. We have orange pumpkin, this beautiful juicy orange. Just look how good it looks next to these little pumpkin props. We have red maple stamping polish, yellow mustard that most of us will absolutely fall in love, because for all of us, mustard color is a must-have this season. We also have brown chocolate and nude hazel. And all of these stamping polishes stamp absolutely beautiful. They're just as pigmented as the original collection of stamping polishes, and they will last you a very long time. And also the new elements. We have 5 fantastic elements for you to treat yourself to grow your collection of these beautiful pigments. Now these are absolutely incredible. They're a little different in comparison to the original Elements collection because they are super duper sparkly. They're definitely something that you want to have. And look at the colors. They're definitely going very well with the autumn season. And as well, you will stretch it out to Christmas because we have this beautiful color. And this is brown ametrine. Just look at the sparkle in there. It's like nice brown color. Absolutely beautiful. Then we have copper chrysos. This is, I have to say, my favorite one out of them. This is like a rosy gold. Definitely something for everyone to have in their toolbox. We have this gorgeous gold zargon. That is beautiful gold, super sparkly yellow gold color. We have rose rhodon. Beautiful. Just think about what you can create with them, and I will show you a few ideas to get you started. And finally, we have green Amazon. Just look at that. It's beautiful blue pink. And as with the original collection of elements from yours, these can be used with your shellacs, your gel polishes, but you can also mix them with your gels and liquid and powders to create custom sculpting powders. So let's look at some examples before I start creating nails for you. Let's look at this plate. We'll just talk a few more minutes about the graphic autumn stamping plate. Things that you can do with it. For example, you can start creating nails for your clients, speaking of creating feature nails. I was thinking of the English word to go for it. So we can start dressing up the nails and creating pieces of jewelry. Here I've used Tracy Lee's stamping plate, and if you mix on the plate, if you mix your pumpkin yellow mustard color and your white as you are scraping through together, you can imitate the color of the Hermes chains that everybody loves. And of course, this is created by using reverse stamping technique. We will talk about that in just a few bits. You can also think of these designs not just for reverse stamping, but for those of you who are having difficulty creating nail looks or feature nails or accent nails for clients using Swarovski crystals. You will use the stamping plate as your guide. So you will stamp, in this instance we use the little dragonfly. You can stamp the dragonfly with a lighter color and then just follow along and place your crystals to create this jewelry effect. And then speaking of which, we can also do exactly the same with the little bug. Just look at that. What do you think? This will be easy enough and fast enough to set the crystals around the stamping design for you. But also that does not stop there. If you like 3D acrylic designs, but you're not quite sure where to start and you're having a little difficulty with scaling, this will also help you to create and use the stamping plates to place your acrylic powder to feature your beautiful designs. Then let's talk a little bit about the back side of the plate that has some beautiful patterns that will help you to create designs like this. As you can see, it's really pigmented and truly gives you the opportunity to create fabulously stamped nail art designs. And one other thing I want to show you, because this will actually be a very good technique to mention we have two apples on the stamping plate, one large and one small. So utilizing the two sizes, you can create designs like these, where we're going to use a big apple, stamp it for a background, and then color it in with cherry apple Shellac in this instance. And then you will create a reverse stamp using the reverse stamping technique. Use a smaller apple and just place it along on the side. But you can also fill them in with your gel polishes. So if you like creating lovely designs, you can fill them with your gel polishes. And just one more example for you guys to have a look, a little pair of socks, which will go great for anybody who needs to feel a little cozy this autumn. Alrighty. Now, when we talk about dragonflies, for example, one more design for you to look at. As you can see, these little creatures could be easily incorporated in a set of nails. Keep your eyes peeled on the Instagram page, as we will be posting some of the nails later on for you to admire. All right, so let's move on, and we are going to create some nail art. But before we go into nail art, one little trick about your elements. When you open them for the very first time, what I'd like to do is just like a little trick for you. The little barcode thingy is usually pressed between the top and the bottom of the packaging to hold this package shut. So gently peel it off the side and place it on the back, which will then tell you what name is it. So if you need to replace it, or you're writing step by steps, or just, you know, while you're learning the colors, because this is a new product, this is a good trick to make sure you remember what they are. And since these are loose pigments, and of course when they travel in the post, sometimes the pigment seeps through onto the outside. So tap them on the table first, then slowly open them, but not fully. Just kind of guide the packaging up the top, and use a fan brush to dust away any loose particles of the powder prior to opening them. And then when you open them, it's going to be pretty much mess-free for you. And then as you close them, make sure you always keep them upright while storing them. So let's create a nice but very minimalistic nail design. And I have already applied 2 layers of Gala Girl in shellac and cured it fully. And then we're going to use 3 colors of our stamping polishes, but we're not actually going to use a stamping plate at this stage of the design. So right now, you guys are pretty sure you are aware of the fact that there are a lot of abstract nail designs out there that people are after. So this is particularly good for somebody who needs an autumnal nail design really, really quickly, or you're just introducing your clients to stamping. So what we're going to do is we are going to use the brush straight out of the bottle. We only need a tiny, tiny little bit because we want this to dry really fast. And this is highly pigmented. And then all we have to do is just paint a few little strokes of each color, then moving along to orange pumpkin. This was red maple first, and then orange pumpkin, just here and there. And then we finish it off with the nude hazel. Just here and there. And of course you can add any other color that you like. Set this to the side, and I'm going to use the foliage stamping plate. No, we're not going to use foliage. We're going to use graphic autumn, and we're going to utilize one of these guys. And to make the design flow with the color scheme, I am choosing to work with brown chocolate. Get your stamper ready. Get your scraping card ready. We have the new ones that feature the new collection. And the trick with these, in order to get a nice and full stamping image, let's say we'll use the mushroom. You want to paint the whole area with a little amount of stamping polish and then gently scrape once and then gently roll your stamper over the design. Now, as you can see, I've picked up 2 mushrooms. I don't need 2, I just want 1. So I'm going to use my scraping card and gently tap on the stamping, on the halo stamper to remove any unwanted areas of the design. Get your nail and then place your mushroom right in the middle of the nail, creating a beautiful minimalistic nail design. At this stage, you can go ahead and apply your top coat, but what we can do also is we will use Rose Rodin. We will use Rose Rodin element, and you can use the little applicators, or you can use any gel brush to apply it. I'm going to use La Senta G1 brush because I only want to apply a tiny wee drop. So I like to work from the lid. If you need, you can pick up some pigment and then press it onto the back side of the lid, so you're not applying far too much of the pigment. And then we're going to place our brush just to add these little speckles of foil here and there, just to accentuate your design. Once you're done, a very good idea to use a fan brush to dust away any excess particles of the element prior to applying your top coat. And then apply your top coat as you usually do. And then we're going to cure it. And this creates a very nice minimalistic style nail art design for anybody's liking. So let's have a look at the full set of them as an example in this box of tricks. There is a set. So on every nail you can create a different, you can stamp a different size. You can obviously choose the size that goes along with that particular size of the nail. I hope you guys love this one. Let's move along. And now we're going to do a little reverse stamping. So I've got 2 layers of crisp green shellac applied and cured. Now I'm going to use my foliage stamping plate again, and this time we are going to use the leafy pattern. This guy. And let's say we will also use the gold one, Golden Galaxy. Give it a good shake. Paint a small amount onto the plate. Get your stamper, get your card, scrape once, gently roll the stamper, pick up your design, and just look how beautifully and easily everything is picked up. So this time what we're going to do is we'll use a scraping card as a palette, and I'm going to decant first of all orange pumpkin. Now at this point you don't want to decant all of the colors at once because they are highly pigmented and they are fast drying. So you want to decant one color at a time, and you're going to use a brush or a dotting tool. I'm using Lasente D1, but this could also be done with a dotting tool. And now we're going to paint the leaves with the brush very gently. You don't want to make too many strokes because the color can melt the stamping underneath. And once you've done few leaves, turn it over just to make sure that you are satisfied with the coverage. And you continue filling the leaves with the color of your choice as you go along. Now, let me tell you that at some point, obviously this is not new technique. This technique has been out for quite a while. But for some reason, I always felt that this is far too time consuming. But as you can see, this is pretty quick. So you can create, you can obviously do the whole set, but you will need to work on few stampers. But if you're just doing an accent nail, this will probably take you a couple of minutes just to fill the leaves. But this process is so therapeutic. Cover the leaves with your chosen colors. As you can see, I'm not paying particular attention where I'm placing, as long as you're staying within the design and making sure you clean your brush in between, because this stamping polish is highly pigmented and it's fast drying. It's worth mentioning it. Now I'm going to use a little bit of brown chocolate. And of course you can leave some of the leaves free of polish. But the more colors you use, the more quirky it's going to be. Not to bore you with this, I'm just going to set it aside. Once all the colors that you are choosing to apply are on, you want to allow this to dry on the stamper for at least around a minute. Because if you use it too quickly, the last leaf that you have applied could get squashed on the top film of your gel polish. So especially if you're working with gel polishes that have quite a liquidy top film. Once it's ready, we take our nail and we stamp our design by rolling the stamper over the design. Rolling the stamper over the design. There we go. Then apply top coat, cure it, and once you've cured it, this is what you get. Now, I think the look of this design is very well worth the hassle of applying the color into the little leaves. So let's look at another way of creating lovely leaves. And on this particular plate, one of my, well, like I said, it is my favorite, so every single one of these is my favorite. But I want you to have a look, particularly pay attention to this middle row. Now, this is incredible because look at the detail on the leaves, and it actually stamps absolutely beautiful. So let's recreate a nail. We will take a nail that we have 2 layers of color applied and cured. I'm going to set that aside. And this time, let's say we will use, let's use the blackout stamp and polish, just so you can see the detail on it. We'll get our stamper ready to go. And we'll paint blackout stamp and polish onto the design, just so it gets into every single little crack of the stamping. Give it a nice scrape and then roll your leaf onto the stamping plate. And once again, if you have anything that you don't want, just use the back of your scraping card to get rid of it, so it's not going to get itself onto the actual nail. Alternatively, you can use a little lint roller, but for me it definitely works with the scraping card. Now let's set this to the side, and we'll take our elements. This time we're going to take copper creases to the side, and I also fancy to use orange clownfish. Look at this gorgeous green. This is the element that came out with the original collection. So it also is particularly handy to have this guy for all of your autumnal kind of stamping designs, because, and of course, also anything that you want to create for Halloween. So let's start with copper creases. Again, we're going to pick up a small amount of copper creases on the brush. Press it a little bit on the back of the packaging just to make sure that you are picking up all the little particles. You can see how it has tiny particles and larger particles also. And then we're going to very gently press the pigment inside the leaf. You don't want to handle it too much because you don't want to start getting the leaf attaching itself to the brush. So try to keep a very, very fine touch. And then move along and use the pigment to fill any little tiny spaces in between. It connects the stamping on the halo stamper with the chunkier element. And if you get a little halo around it with the pigment, that is absolutely fine. What you could do, use your fan brush to get rid of any excess particles. Then we're going to get our nail and we're going to roll the leaf onto the nail. Where shall we place it? Let's place it in the corner of the nail. Give it a wee roll, and voila. Just look at the detail. Every single tiny particle is beautiful. And then go ahead and you can obviously apply a second leaf if you want to. So as a finished product, you can create designs like these. And in this particular case, I really like how it creates a cuff, kind of like a reverse French design with a little leaf. Obviously, you can use any pigment on the other side. You can use vinyl wax. You can use your stamping polishes. You can pretty much do whatever you fancy doing. Okay. And let's say we want to create a nice autumnal nail design for the whole nail using a little bit of ombre technique. We'll maneuver ourselves over to this side. I'll just give it a little cleanse. Remember to cleanse your plates with Scrub Fresh. You can also use Dissolve if you're in the UK, or acetone, just to make sure that there is no excess particles of any product or previous polishes or any, if you're not wearing gloves, any oils, because that affects how the design is picked up to the halo stamper. All right, so this time we're going to create a very gorgeous ombre. Everybody knows how to do this. You guys probably do anyway as well, but just to give you an idea on how you can utilize these little leaf guys. This beautifully stamps with shellac, and then subsequently you can press foil to create a very beautiful foily leaves if you wanted to. To create an ombre, we're going to place small dots of orange pumpkin first. Then we're going to use yellow mustard, just here and there, no particular order. And then brown chocolate to finish this off, and you don't want to use too much of this, just tiny little speckles. And then we're going to take our scraping card. And you want to scrape a couple of times briskly, just to create a kind of look of the fallen leaves. Look at that. Just look at those. Look at the detail that you can achieve with this guy. Let it dry on a stamper, just a few seconds. And then we're going to transfer the design onto the nail by rolling it over very gently. So halo stamper, if you're not familiar with it, or if you're new, this is the best tool. This is the best stamper out there. The squishy silicone part allows you to have a very light touch, so even the finest of details are always transferring sharply and beautifully. There we go. Rock it back and forth, just to make sure you don't get the little sticky parts. And if you do, don't stress about it, because you can use a gel brush and just brush away. As you can see, that is already dry, so it's not going to affect any of the sealing part. It's dry, it just falls away with the use of a dry gel brush. Sometimes it happens with the heavy patterns, but sometimes it doesn't. It really depends. There we go. And of course, if you want, you can go ahead and add some pigment. In this case, let's see if we can make it a little bit sparklier, or maybe make it a little bit lighter. Let's utilize yellow bee element and a dry gel brush. Pick up the pigment with your brush, and we're just going to make this a little bit shinier and sparklier. Gently burnish your pigment over the entire nail. And once that is done, always remember to give it a light sweep, either with a fan brush or a clean brush, without pressing too hard. But it definitely gets rid of any excess tiny little particles that sometimes, if you leave them behind, could cause your top coat to chip, which you definitely don't want. In this case, if you're new to using pigments in your nail art designs, you can utilize a clear gel polish. If you're a shellac user, you can use clearly pink. It's a good trick for the beginning, at the beginning stages, when you're not paying a lot of attention to how clean it is, or you just don't know to do it. But if you're an experienced stamper, you probably don't even need to worry about that. But the main thing is to make sure that there are no loose particles are sitting on the top of the nail, to avoid any possibilities of chipping. Now, we have created a beautiful nail design here. Very easy, very quick, and definitely you will be able to sell this design to any of your clients. Just imagine what kind of designs you can create with this plate. It doesn't have to be used on a whole nail. You can use it on parts of the nail. Pretty much you can do anything that you want with these plates. Now let's have a look if we have any questions, because we also have Yours Cosmetics peeps, Peter and Dee, on the other side. Thank you so much for creating this lovely collection for us all to enjoy. Just scrolling through any questions that we might want to answer. Thank you very much for all the love. I know this session is a little short, but let's see if we maybe throw one more design and then we'll summarize. let's see if we can, what shall we do, what shall we do? Yes, feel free to ask any questions if you have them, of course, and we'll be very happy to answer. Okay, I would like to show you a quick technique. For this quick technique, I need to apply a matte top coat. So I'm quickly going to do a matte top coat. I'm using C&D Shellac in matte. A very, very thin layer. So this is, you're not using this as a top coat layer. We're just using this to give ourselves a nice matte finish. Oh, we have a little friend joining in. So a nice thin layer, because if you're doing this on the natural nails, you definitely don't want to thicken the structure of the natural nail and create a hassle for removal later. So once this is on, let's pop this in the lamp and cure. And what we're gonna do is we are going to use C&D Shellac to stamp with. And I want to go for this really fine detail here. Or, you know what, let's do the big one. Scrub fresh the area of the stamping plate that you are looking to use to make sure there is nothing alien present, because this will definitely affect. And again, if you are a shellac user, I have recently discovered, if you want to stamp with shellac, one of the colors that stamps very beautifully is leather satchel. There are a lot of colors that you can use. Some shellacs work beautifully, some of them don't. It's just the case of playing about with them. But it also depends on what design you're using. So if you're using anything fine like these, you definitely want an older, thicker gel polish that you probably wouldn't use on the client, that is quite sticky. The trick with this is to apply your shellac onto the stamping plate, and I'm going to scrape once, and as you can see, we have some holes, which means that at this stage we can go ahead and put some more, just to make sure that every single bit is covered with the shellac. Now when you're using shellac, you want to definitely make sure that you have a look on the plate, and you can use what you've scraped and place it back into the plate and use it gently. Do a few gentle scrapes, and then you want to leave it on the plate for maybe a minute is enough. Usually a minute works for me. You want to allow the solvents to evaporate prior to picking it up on a stamper. What you're going to do with it depends on how well the solvents evaporated, and the more solvents evaporated, the stickier it will be. So for me personally, with the experience shows that any shellac that has sparkly effect tends to evaporate faster, because obviously it has pigments in it and particles of sparkles. So it allows the solvents to evaporate. I'm not sure if I'm explaining it for you to understand, but it definitely helps. And then make sure your stamper is nice and clean, and then very gently we're going to roll the stamper over, and look how beautifully even shellac picks up. Again, if you don't want a part, you can get rid of it by tapping your scraping card on the side. Clean your stamping plate right away. This also gives you a few more moments to allow your solvents to evaporate. After that, we get our shellac nail and we give it a very good cleanse. You want to give it a very, very good cleanse. You almost want to cleanse it more than you do when you're removing top fill. Give it a nice rub to make sure that there is absolutely nothing that is sticky left on the surface, and allow the solvents to evaporate. And then we're going to take our stamper and we are going to roll our shellac. Now, before we roll the shellac, it is very important not to get shellac on the client's skin. So this technique is great for the purpose, but you also need to remember the health and safety. You don't want to get any uncured product on a person's skin. So if you are doing just a segment of the nail where shellac is not going to touch a client's skin, you don't have to worry about it. But if you are doing a design that involves you using a full-size pattern where there is a possibility of getting the shellac onto the skin or any other gel polish that you might be using, this beautifully works with gel paints. With heavily pigmented consistency gel paints, they work absolutely beautiful for this technique as well. Some of the gel polishes work pretty well with this also, but to any of those, the same rule applies. You do not want any uncured product on a person's skin, because that could lead to allergic reactions. And then obviously it will cure on the skin, so it will give you a little time-consuming job at the end of your service to get rid of that shellac or gel polish from the skin. So in order to not to do that, you can mask the side walls of the nail and the cuticle area with masking tape. I like to use the masking tape that you guys can use for lash extensions, micropore tape, that's what it's called. So it's very easy to install on the client very quickly. And then, all this time is passing, solvents evaporating, meaning that my design is going to be highly pigmented. Look at that. You can see that every detail, look at the stamper, everything is gone. How fantastic is this? So tidy up around the area if you needed to. And then we're going to place this in the lamp and cure for 1 minute while we cleanse our stamper. Again, remember, we don't want to cleanse our stampers with anything that is a solvent. You don't use alcohol, you don't use Scrub Fresh, you don't use Dissolve or 99% isopropyl alcohol. You don't want to use those, because those kind of over time, it doesn't happen right away. If you do it once, you probably won't even see any effect on it. But if you're consistently going to use a solvent to clean your stamper will lose its shine. It'll become matte. It's still workable. You can absolutely still work with it, but the only thing, if you want to be particular for transferring your designs, this guy will be very hazy and it will be difficult for you to precisely place your design onto the nail. One of the things that is very important to remember why we don't want you to use a solvent on the halo stamper, it's not just because it's going to go matte, but it's also going to lose its stickiness. And when it loses its stickiness, it is very likely that when you are working with a fine stamping plates that got very fine detail, and as an example, I'll probably should show you one of the existing stamping plates. I've had it lying about. Let's say Fine Marble by Sasha. This fabulous design here. It is very fine. The lines are really, really thin. So if your stamper is a little bit worn out or seen better days, you probably very likely will experience troubles of picking up very fine details. So make sure you invest into a lint roller, or some people use Shellac tape. It doesn't matter. Anything with a sticky background will give you the opportunity to get rid of it. But you definitely want to make sure that it's always shiny so you can see through it. So as you are applying the design onto the nail, you can see the detail. You can place it precisely where you want, and it obviously serves you a longer time. Of course, you can replace the little stamping bits by buying the new ones. And it's always handy to have a box lying about, just in case something goes wrong. Halo Refresh, they are very affordable and can definitely solve a lot of problems for you if you have them. If you don't, you do not have to worry about it. So our nail is ready. After all the talking, we have our shellac stamping over there, and now I'm going to use a tiny bit of rose gold foil. And there is a trick to that as well. When you want to create a stamping design with foil over, it is very important to make sure that the opposite side of your foil is virgin, if you can say that. What I mean by that is that it hasn't been handled with your fingertips and that you haven't used it elsewhere. Now, obviously, you don't want to throw away bits of foil that still have color on them, because you can utilize them as adding little accents. You know, everything could be used up to the very last drop. But for this particular technique, you definitely want to make sure that this is nice and virgin. So no handling, no fingerprints, no any pigments, no nothing on there. And then I can also use my halo stamper, and I'm going to apply my foil down to the halo stamper. Just a trick, you don't have to do it, but sometimes it helps. And then we're going to rock the halo stamper over and over until we get a perfect imprint. And then you can use another virgin bit, just move it along to the side. You're not handling it, you don't have any top film from shellac on this particular part. So if there is any bits that have missed, and you can see that we pretty much nailed it, but if you needed to go over it, you turn it over and you just do another rocking part, and you can see that a very tiny amount has picked up its way on the foil. And that, my friends, gives you a beautiful design. Now this applies to all of our stamping plates, even the finest ones. You know, it even works with the leaves. Even works with the leaves. The trick for that is to make sure that you allow your shellac or your gel polish or your gel paint to really evaporate those solvents, to allow the top film to be stickier than it usually is when you're just creating gel polish manicures. And then you want to use original top coat. If you're a shellac user, you definitely want to original top coat this versus Express 5. Express 5 is a little too thin. And if you're using any other brand of gel polish, use the top coat that the brand recommends to use to seal the foil designs. And then obviously send this to a lamp to cure for 1 minute, and then you will have a beautiful accent nail. Now what you can also do with the similar technique, you can create a nail and use the pigments versus, let's see if I can do it this way. Here I have used the brown ametrine element over shellac. Look at the detail. Beautiful. So if you want this, the trick to remember is your surface needs to be matte, so utilize a matte top coat, which is a great tip. Very thin layer. Think of the layer of matte product as an intermediate layer to remove top film. Don't think about it as a top coat. So apply a very, very like slather on almost. Remove all the excess, so your removal time with your gel polish is not going to be compromised at the end. It'll make it nice and fast, but you will also get great benefit from it. And then you definitely want to make sure that when you're applying it onto a stamping plate, you leave it there for just a few moments. You know, you can be doing something else. You can be finishing off the nails that are not getting the design, applying a top coat, just stretching that time to allow the solvents to evaporate. So the more liquidy the consistency of the product that you're using, that requires to be cured in order to produce a top film, the thinner it is, the longer you want to leave it slightly on the surface of the nail. And then you can also leave it on a little stamper while you're cleaning the stamper. So overall, around about 2-3 minutes, based on my experience, is what is enough to create this environment so that everything will stick without mushing about. But also, it will give you a perfect imprint. The less solvents in there, the less likely that you will squish the design by rolling the stamper over the nail. And also remember that you do not want to apply too much pressure, as if you're applying too much pressure and the product on the stamper is liquid or raw, it's uncured, it's not solid, it could squash itself, so you don't want that. Cure, and then obviously apply the foil in the way that you like applying it, or use the little trick with the stamper. This trick is fabulous because it definitely allows you to do a whole nail without lifting the foil off. Try it. You might like it. You might be already stamping with foil and having great success. I'm pretty sure a lot of people are. But for some of us, these little tricks are always, always helpful. So we have created a number of nail designs. I'm just going to quickly show you the opportunities that you can create for yourself once you get your hands on the plates. For customers in the UK, you will be able to purchase them from Wednesday. For everybody else, you can purchase them now. Anyone in the US as well, from the US distributor. If you have any questions, you know where we are. We're always happy to help you. And then I also want to just talk about the bee. The bee is the bee's knees, and everybody who loves bees and everybody who loves asking you to create bees, you have no problem at all. Also remember, you can use your stamping plates with the insects as a background, just to give you the placement for your crystals if you wanted to, or obviously you can also use acrylic powders or 3D gels if you're doing them. Everything is for you, and I truly hope that you will enjoy working with this collection as much as I have enjoyed creating it for you. So let's turn the camera over. I think this was a little longer than half an hour, but you know, we had people watching, so it's great. Now, if you have any questions, feel free to ask them now. We will be very happy to answer anything, anything technical. If you watch this after and have some questions arising, please don't hesitate to get in touch with the guys at Yours Cosmetics. They're very helpful. They know everything about stamping. Make sure you follow us on Instagram, Yours Cosmetics. Make sure you follow us on Facebook. And also, for those of you who don't know, we have, well, not we, but Yours Cosmetics has got a fabulous YouTube channel. Show them the love, subscribe to make sure that you never miss an exciting tutorial. We are not greedy to share our knowledge. We will do everything possible for you to enjoy use of Yours Cosmetics products, as truly there is no way you're going to find a better stamping attributes that you need for your work anywhere else, because all the plates are created by nail professionals. We know what you guys want because we want it too, you know, and of course it's a little selfish to say that. So, oh, it's been an hour. Excellent. So in order to conclude, I have spoken to guys at Yours, Peter and Dee, and you know, it has been quite a tough year for some people. Congratulations to the two guys that won the giveaway. One of them is our very own Scottish gal, so congratulations, you've nailed it. But I also thought that it will be good to give the product away to some more people. Now, in order to get involved in winning some plates, we are going to give away random plates from Fantastic Fall Collection to 10 lucky people. So you will get a random plate. It will either be one of mine or it will be the Halloween one. All you have to do is, and you will see it on Instagram. I will make a little post later on today, but since you were here, you deserve to know first. So you won't miss the opportunity. All I'm asking you to do is follow me on Instagram and tag your nail friends in it. We're going to spread the love of Fantastic Fall to the entire world so nail professionals like us will be able to create beautiful autumnal designs for their clients and make this world a happier place. So keep your eyes peeled. Natalia Altai CNG UK is my Instagram handle. And you probably will find me if you visit Instagram page from yours. But in order to win a random plate, you will need to follow both of our accounts. And we will make sure we check that, just to be fair. So with that in mind, thank you so much for taking the time and joining us on Sunday. I know a lot of people spend this time with family, but I also hope that you have enjoyed and some will have something to take away from this little session. Thank you very much. For those who've missed the part, this video will be saved so you will be able to watch it afterwards. Thank you very much. Enjoy your glass of wine. We love you. Stay safe and see you soon. Bye-bye.